I have a question to you. Is our fielding a little bit concerning? Now, in Game 3, that was just – it seemed like we didn't want to be there at all. You have Reese Hoskins misplaying a ball off the –
You guys are now tuned in to the Dan and Brodes Show.
What is going on, everybody? Another episode of the fan favorite, the Dan and Brodes Show. I'm starting to get DMs from my subscribers saying, Brodes, when is it coming out? I said, listen, go attack Dan. He's the one that's the busy man. I have to work around him. You know what I'm saying?
That's not even fair, man.
We are giving away the MLB TV 1-year subscription. All you have to do is go to my Twitter at Brodes81 and retweet my tweet in regards to the subscription. But let's kick this bad boy off because we're going to talk some Phillies. They just had a series against the Diamondbacks, and we're going to look at the 3 games. But as a whole, I'm going to have to say pretty garbage series. What do you think?
Game 1, a lot of questionable decisions, obviously, with the best manager in the National League. Had a little bit of a rough Game 1. We bounced back and we beat Grinky. You know what, though? We almost predicted it in the episode right before the series started about how backwards the Phillies are sometimes. The one game we win in this series, Zach Greinke was on the mound. That was the one game going into it. On paper, we were a little bit concerned. It ends up being the only game that we win. But after a long homestand, traveling out to the West Coast, playing one of the better teams in the National League, I'm not too upset about losing 2 out of 3. It is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm upset because we could have won 2 or 3. I was talking about it after the Game 3 stinker. You know, that one didn't hurt as much. I wasn't as upset because it's going to happen with so many games. But when Game 1 happens, where we blow it with the 9th inning with 1 out to Anthony Dominguez, you know, that one hurts a little more. So I'm just a little bit more frustrated knowing that we could have taken 2 or 3, but we do get help. We get help because the Braves and the Nats were beating up on each other, and they split, and that's exactly what I personally wanted them to do.
Yep, the split worked out good. We lost 2 out of 3, but we're still a game up on Atlanta. And Nick Swisher was actually talking about this on, I think, Fox Sports last night. The Phillies have the easiest remaining schedule the rest of the way out in the NL East, and the Atlanta Braves actually have the 3rd hardest record on the way out. We also play half of our remaining games at home. We've been the best home team in the National League this year. So a lot of positives to look at leaving Arizona. We just got to turn it around here going into August because the tough stretch down the road it's gonna start coming up here.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm surprised we have the easiest in the NL East, honestly, because I was looking at our schedule. I'm thinking, I believe we have 9 games left against the Nats. We have the Cubs. We have the Boston Red Sox. But, I mean, that doesn't mean the other teams obviously don't have hard ones as well.
Yep.
But let's take a look at these 3 games that we played. Game 1, obviously, we talked about this on the live stream that we did, but we didn't make a video on it. And Jake Arrieta goes 8 innings. He looked like Chicago Cubs, Jake Arrieta. He has 110 pitches.
Say that again. Say that part again.
110 pitches.
Okay.
Okay. we were up 2-0. And listen, I'm not mad that you put in Anthony Dominguez. I get it. I'm just saying, if you were watching the game, not just looking at the numbers of how many pitches he had, we haven't seen that Jake Arrieta yet here in Philadelphia. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong at all. He was absolutely dealing. He was dealing.
That's what I'm saying. And sometimes I feel like you got to just scratch the number analytic crap and get the feel of the baseball game. Jason Worth came out and said that too. The numbers, the geeks, as he calls it, are ruining the game of baseball. You got to have a feel of the game and not so much just base everything off of numbers. Now, I'm not criticizing Gabe for pulling him out and putting in our closer in the 9th up 2-0. I get that's what you do.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm kind of with you because I totally understand your frustration. You're not wrong. I'm sorry, Anthony Dominguez is just, in my opinion, an elite closer already. It's unfortunate that he had one of his off nights when Jake just went 8 strong because if he just shuts the door like he usually does, this isn't even a conversation. So a lot of it does fall on him. But if Arrieta would have gone back out there for the 9th, I would have had no issues with that. We probably would have won that game because he was absolutely dealing. But it goes to show the confidence Gabe has in Dominguez as well, which is one thing I do got to give him at least a little bit of credit for. Because like you said, Jake's the kind of guy, we gave him big-time money. He's making $30 million this year. And that was the first time we seen Chicago Cubs Cy Young type Jake Arrieta, and he took him out for the young gun.
Yeah. No, Gabe has confidence in everybody. I mean, if you're struggling 3 games in a row, my man is putting you back out there. And I mean, it's not a bad thing. I get it because I've been inside locker rooms before and I understand. But one thing we we're talking about Sir Anthony, and I don't know the exact numbers, but there is a huge difference in Sir Anthony's numbers after going back-to-back games and then having rest. I mean, it's insane, the difference in the numbers. And, you know, is that concerning, knowing that we might need this guy, you know, later in the season? Are we going to go away from him if we used him the night before? Who else do we even have?
How big of a deal is that going to become playoff time? Because we probably will need you every night in a playoff series. This started back, I want to say maybe a month. It was maybe right before the All-Star break. That the series against Washington, that was the first time he pitched in back-to-back games, and he got slapped around. Daniel Murphy had that big hit where they took the lead. Bryce Harper at like 110 mile an hour single back up the middle is probably a tater if he gets that on the barrel. I don't know what it is. It's a little bit weird to me, though, how drastic it is, because it really is that black and white. If he gets a day off, you're not getting on base. If he's pitching back-to-back nights, it's like he turns into Wade Davis. It's weird. It's really weird.
Yeah, it is. It is like one extreme to the next. And it's a little concerning, but you got to think he's a younger dude, which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because if you think about it, you should have, like, you know, when you're younger, you have a little bit more to give, I guess, is what I'm going for.
Man, sometimes those guys throwing 99, 100, maybe he's just got to get used to, I don't know, maybe it's a soreness thing. I don't know what it is. But the dude's a fireballer.
Right. It's a different level of throwing every single pitch at 150% rather than maybe in AAA he was getting, you know, 90% out of it. I don't know. Who knows? But we're just trying to give him some benefit of the doubt, I guess. So anyway, we end up losing that game one, in heartbreaking fashion, and Peralta hits the walk-off home run in like the 14th, and that man ends up coming back to kill us in game 3. But we'll move on to game 2, where, like you said, we had Greinke on the mound, and I've tweeted before, I said, I'm feeling optimistic, fellas. I'm feeling optimistic. We got Pivetta, we got Greinke, and we're going to smack Greinke. No, we didn't absolutely smack Greinke, but we ended up winning this game 5-0. We got Cesar Hernandez with a Little League home run. That was fun to watch.
Yeah, that was fun to watch. Yeah. Well, that was a grinded-out win. It was a slow-paced win. I think Rhys Hoskins set the tone in the first inning of that game. He had like a 9 or 10 pitch at-bat where he ended up drawing a walk. Zach Greinke's not the kind of guy who walks people. He ended up having tied his season high for walks in that game, and I think Hoskins set the tone with that, with really good at-bats. I think Greinke only ended up giving up 2 runs, but you could tell we were getting him deep in the counts. He wasn't going to go 8 innings in this game. You figured that out pretty soon. And I think we just set the tone early on being patient and grinding the game out. And I think that Nick Pivetta fed off of that a little bit. He just kind of got locked in, took it one pitch at a time. It was a slow-paced game, but a win's a win. That's how you got to beat guys like Greinke. That's how you win those games.
Yeah, if that doesn't scream Gabe Kapler, then I don't know what does. I mean, listen, it was a good win. We beat Greinke. Nick Pivetta gets a little bit of confidence. He goes 6 innings. He had 6 Ks. He pitched well compared to what we've seen in the past. And Nick Williams had a bomb, as Drupal had a bases juice double off the wall that was pretty close to being a grand slam. It was a good win. Loop comes in.
It's always scary.
Dude, I don't even want to go there. So then the series is tied 1-1, where it could have been 2-0, Phils, and then game 3 is just a stinker. And I have a question to you: is our fielding a little bit concerning now? In game 3, that was just, it seemed like we didn't want to be there at all. You have Rhys Hoskins misplaying a ball off it wasn't the wall, it was like the foul play line. Yeah, it was bad. It was just bad. And then you have Franco misses one. You have Odubel Herrera out in the outfield. Are we just getting sloppy defensively again?
Getting sloppy. Brodes, my guy. We have been the worst defensive team in the league all season long. We have a first baseman in left. We have a second baseman splitting time between third and shortstop. As Drupal Cabrera doesn't know what position he wants to play. It's a good thing Michael Franco's kind of figured it out. He's been playing a really good third for us. Because the rest of this team, I don't get it. If this team's even halfway better defensively than they are, I think we're probably at least 4 or 5 games up in this division. Jake Arrieta has given up twice as many unearned runs as the next starting pitcher in the National League. That sucks. We've taken like 8 to 10 innings away from this guy. It's
no
insane.
doubt.
And they're sloppy errors. It's not just, that happens or that's a tough play. They're sloppy, what are you doing errors. Like that,
I know.
that pop-up that hits Cesar Hernandez right in the chest. Cuz.
Now hear me out, though. Does the manager ever have to, like, set a tone with something like that? I'm not ripping into Gabe.
Yeah, you are.
If I was a manager and I see this happening, so you have to hold your guys accountable. Now, he sat Odubel. We talked about this. He said it was his day off anyway. Now, that's crap in Boston. He sat him.
Crap. He got benched.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You got to hold your guys accountable. Odubel is looking insanely sloppy, insanely again. And, he hasn't been doing that all year long. He's one of the guys who have kind of stepped up. He hasn't been doing this kind of work all season long. Reese, maybe.
No, I'm with you, though. But like you said, in the Boston series, we sat Odubel down because of it. Kingery has sat the day after making a couple bonehead plays a few times this year. So I do think Gabe has kind of maybe stepped in a little bit. See, I don't know because obviously we're not in the locker room. But just based off of what I'm looking at, it does seem like Gabe's trying to jump in. At the end of the day, the players got to play, though. I mean, you can put a little bit of it on everybody, but it's inexcusable how bad it is. Like, we're not kind of bad defensively. We are very bad defensively, and it's sad.
I know. It's gonna hurt us down the line, no doubt. So 2 players we got to talk about here. Well, really 3, but one of them's on the Diamondbacks, and Peralta absolutely waxed us this series, dude. He started out the series 0 for 3. He waxed the Phillies this series. It was unbelievable.
He's fun to watch play, though. I like David Peralta a lot. I keep up with him. He's got a pretty low swing. If that man would have just stayed healthy the last couple of years, he would be a little bit more of a common name. When that dude's on, he rips baseballs. He's one of their unsung heroes out there. He's part of a very big reason why they've been so good the last couple of years.
Unbelievable. It really is. So, in that Game 3, Vince Velasquez did not have a good start. Not at all. And he's been really hot as of late. He goes 4 innings, allows 6 hits, 4 earned runs, and I don't know. Am I nervous of this one start? I think he maybe dropped back down to reality a little bit. Is that fair to say?
No, it's fair to say. I think it's concerning, but there's also a flip side to that coin because this is kind of just who Vince Velasquez is. I mean, in July, his ERA was like 1.5. But in June, his ERA was over 5. And in May, he actually had a pretty decent month. And in April, he was decent. So he's very hit or miss. I just really hope that some of these big games that he's going to be pitching in the next 6 to 8 weeks and maybe in the playoffs, that he locks in and we get the best version of him. Because when he's off, we're not winning. When he's off, he's giving up 4 to 6.
I hate to burst your bubble here, but his next start is against Boston.
I need prime time VV in this one. He has the stuff to shut down anybody.
I agree.
He has the
Strikeout
stuff.
machine too, dude.
Figure it out. And I was listening to the radio broadcast. I was actually listening to the game at the gym, and someone mentioned this, and they were totally right. I forget who said it on the broadcast, but when he gets runners on base, he turns into a totally different pitcher. He moves so slow when there's runners on base. And I get it. You're trying to slow it down. That affects your fielders just as much as it affects the base runners and the batter. You're changing the pace of the entire game. And I think there are a lot of times where he messes himself up. Just play. Play like any other time. It's like he's thinking too much when there's runners in scoring position, and you can see it.
I agree 100%.
It's concerning, but to me, that's something that's really fixable.
Yeah, you're right. You're definitely right. Okay, so the next person. I hate to bring this one up. Scott Kingery.
Yeah.
All right, listen. Yeah. I defended this man, and I still do. It's bad. I mean, it was bad when I made the original video about how bad it was, and it times by 2. It is double as bad.
Oh,
but here's my opinion on it. We don't have any other option. We're not sending the guy down to AAA. To scream to send this guy down is ridiculous, and to scream that J.P. Crawford needs to play that position when he comes back is ridiculous, knowing how much time he wasn't involved. And when he was in, we were booing him to get out because he was batting under 200. We just don't have an option. That's what we are with the team we're with right now, with the addition of Ramos. That's just what it is.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for us to figure out what we're going to do at second base. I really think Kingery, if we put him in his natural position at second base every day and just let him get comfortable, I think that could bring the best out in him. That situation's just not going to present itself with Cesar on the team, although Cesar's not exactly... He hasn't been, the last month and a half, he hasn't been the Cesar Hernandez that we've seen over the last 2 years. So
I think he's hurt.
You think he's hurt?
Yeah, there's something wrong with him right now.
But at some point, though, you gotta mix him starts at second base. You gotta at least start sprinkling it in there from time to time, because at the end of the day, J.P. Crawford at shortstop, Scott Kingery at second base is probably what we're going to be looking at if we don't get Machado in the offseason. That's been the long-term plan for 2 years. So at some point, you have at least got to give him an opportunity to play his natural position. He's been playing the toughest position in the infield all season long, and that's not his position.
Right.
Maybe that's affecting his presence at the plate. Maybe that's affecting his approach. Maybe he's just down on himself entirely. But at some point, you got to give him an opportunity to play the position that you brought him up here to play in the first place.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it probably won't happen this year, but I'm just saying, I think if we move on from Cesar, make something happen, put him at second, the dude needs to end up. He's the future of second base, so he's got to find a way over there. We've talked about this before, but he needs to find a way to get to that position.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah. So, all right. So moving on to what, at this point I'm scoreboard watching. I am, and I kind of like it. Yesterday I'm sitting there at work watching the old Facebook Live, which is garbage, of Nats Braves in the afternoon, and I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm enjoying just watching this race because it makes me more involved with, other teams. And like we talked about, the Nats and the Braves split. But looking ahead at what they have is the Nats end up playing the Chicago Cubs in a series, and Game 3 is Scherzer-Lester, by the way. Just throwing that out there.
That's fun.
Talk about an ESPN matchup.
That's fun.
And then you have the Braves playing the Brewers. So as we go and play the Padres, who are hot, by the way, who just played great against the Cubs, great against the Brewers.
Yeah, Hunter Renfroe's red hot right now. That's scary.
Yeah, I know. And we're away. But, for them to play hard teams as well right now, and I think it's crucial that we're still up a game going into this. If the Braves won last night or yesterday afternoon and we were not in first place by a game, I think it changes our mentality a little bit. Yeah,
well, we know for a fact Atlanta's not about to sweep Milwaukee. That's not going to happen. Yeah. They are going to get chalked with an L.
Too.
Yeah, they're going to get chalked with at least one, probably two. And you never know with the way the Brewers hit. Atlanta could go up there and get swept. This 3-game set right now could actually be a huge arrow in the direction that this division's about to go. If we go handle our business in San Diego and Milwaukee takes 2 out of 3, we're sitting really, really pretty halfway through April or August. I clearly have no idea what world I'm living in. No idea. It's my dad's birthday today, too, and it's like, it's April. No big deal.
That's great. That's phenomenal. But yeah, no, you're not wrong, because I think this series is big for us because we do have that 2-game series against Boston coming up, and I would love to say that we're going to take at least one of those, but there's a possibility we lose 2. So I think that this Padres series is insanely big because, I'm factoring in my mind, okay, there's a chance we lose 2 to Boston, just knowing Pivetta and Velasquez are two guys. But with the Padres...
Oh, my goodness. Is that who's lined up to pitch in the Boston games?
Who?
Is it Pivetta and Velasquez lined up to pitch the Boston games?
Yeah,
bro, nope. Call somebody up. Nope. Nope.
Well, hear me out. We have Eflin, Nola, Arrieta for the Padres. That should be a sweep. You know what I'm saying? And we grab one of the Boston games.
Which one? Who's on the mound for Boston? Sale? Sale's probably on the mound.
No. It's Porcello and somebody else. I don't know. I forget off the top of my head. But regardless, one point I need to bring up here is I can't get over these MLB analysts and the Nat. They still think the Nats are easily going to find a way to come back. I don't get it. They're 5.5 games back right now. I can't stand it. It's like they don't believe in the Phillies or the Braves. I'm even putting the Braves some respect here. They just don't think we can handle this, and they think it's 100% the Nats that are going to come back and win.
The thing that I don't understand, like, I get it. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. Somebody's probably going to chew me out for this in the comments. Like, I get it. They've won the division like 5 years in a row. They do have a ton of talent. But they are not nearly as talented as everyone acts like they are, in my opinion. I get it. Scherzer's elite. I get it. Strasburg knows how to be elite. Bryce Harper is Bryce Harper. Rendon's a really underrated player. I like Trey Turner. But they have holes. They have significant holes. The back end of their rotation is not that good. Their catcher's a question mark. They have question marks across their...
Applebaum.
Yeah. No, they shouldn't have. But anyway, there are holes on that team, and they really have feasted on a bad division the last 4 or 5 years. I'm not trying to bring them down too much because they do have a bunch of talent. They are a good team, but I don't think they're nearly as good as everyone thinks they are. And I think it just comes down to that. It's that hype factor. It's the Harper Scherzer. I get it. Scherzer's playing 1 out of 5 games, though, and Harper's batting .235, and there are other holes on the team. There's a reason it's August 10th, and they're in not second place. They're in third place. Yeah, they're not in a wild card spot. They don't make the playoffs if the season ends today. They're out.
Yeah. It's not June anymore where you're saying, there's time for the Nats. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's time. 5.5 games isn't 20 games. But I'm just saying, it's like disrespecting us in the Braves. And I'm even giving respect to the Braves. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's disrespect.
It honestly is disrespectful. So you know what? I take it back. I don't care that I'm being disrespectful to Washington because Atlanta and Philly are both getting disrespected by the national media right now. And it's getting old. It's about exactly 4 months old, if I'm going to be particular. It's about time people understand that the future of this division is not in Washington because Scherzer's 97 years old. Daniel Murphy's 97 years old. Jason Worth is done. Bryce Harper's leaving. That team is done. They're done after this year. Unless Juan Soto ends up being better than Bryce Harper was, they have so much they need to do to clean that team up after this year because it's going to start going downhill. The Braves are only getting better. The Phillies are only getting better. If the Mets would actually stay healthy for 5 minutes, they are a better team than the Nationals are going to be, in my opinion. They're going to end up the 4th best team in this division 2 years from now, and I'm getting sick and tired. I'm sick and tired of the Nationals, dude. I'm sick of them. Sick of them. Sick of them.
We're getting fired up over here. We're getting fired up over here. Well, let's take a turn now that we're getting all fired up to some scenarios. Okay, we're doing the scenarios again. We did this on the live stream. I'm going to hit you with some Game 7 World Series scenarios, and you're going to have to tell me which one you prefer. Now, down below, you guys can leave in the comments section your own scenarios. We will take a gander at them and potentially use all the solid ones in the next episode.
I like that.
So I'm going to start it off here with Game 7 World Series, right? Some of these are positive, some of these are negatives. Actually, there's only one positive one, but I'm going to lean that way towards next time. Okay, so Aaron Nola throws a no-hitter in the Game 7 World Series, but it's a 6-0 win, okay? It's not like it's 1-0 or 6-0, and we're winning this ball game easily. Or Odubel Herrera is up to bat. Bases juiced, down 3, 2 outs, 0-2 counts, and my man hits a walk-off grand slam in Game 7. Yeah? Okay. I'm just saying, think about Aaron Nola's no-hitter.
I would,
in the Game 7.
Brodes, I would pass out if we won the World Series on an El Torito walk-off grand slam. I would actually faint. I'm being serious. I would faint.
Was that too easy?
That was too easy for me. Aaron Nola can beat it.
I'm just thinking, like, come on, a no-hitter for Aaron Nola in Game 7, though? No? Okay.
Have you ever seen the blonde tips on Odubel Herrera's head?
I thought you were a Nola guy. Okay, well, let's go with this one. This one's going to hurt the fan base. Aaron Nola leaves us in free agency.
Oh,
or
Jesus.
Reese Hoskins leaves us in free agency.
Good Lord. Next question. My
Listen,
God.
these are the
I'd
scenarios
rather
here.
Ben Simmons break his foot again than either of those two
Stop it. This is
options.
different. I didn't wish injury upon anybody. This is just leaving in free agency. This isn't Game 7 World. This is after Game 7 of the World Series, apparently.
Oh, man.
I might go Nola.
Yeah.
Because we can maybe get another starting pitcher, but Reese is going to be an everyday guy for quite some time. But don't get me wrong, I know. But think about that. Scherzer or somebody like someone who plays every day. We just had this discussion. Like, yeah, Scherzer's great, but does that make the team what it is?
Yeah, no, see, I'm with you. I take the position player 9 times out of 10. Aces are so hard to find. So hard to find.
I'm with you. So you're going to go with Reese? Stays?
Damn, man. I really, my bias is not going to allow me to even answer this question. But I think I'm letting Hoskins go.
Oh, wow.
My head hurts.
Okay. These are great. Okay, so Game 7 World Series. Odubel Herrera misses a fly ball that he should have gotten, and it was really bad.
That's way more realistic than the Grand Slam, I'm just saying.
For the other team to walk it off. Or a pitch that's low. Jorge Alfaro misses it right through the 5-hole, pass ball, walk off for the other team. How are we losing the World Series?
I'm going to go Odubel there because outfielders are a little easily more replaced. If Jorge Alfaro let one go through his legs in the World Series, he'd be fired the next day, and I can't have that happen to my catcher.
You don't think Odubel would get ran out of the city?
He's already getting ran out of the city by some people who don't like to play. He plays D. So he's just bringing it on himself at this point. These are tough. These are tough, but I think I'm gonna let Odubel take the L on that one because I don't think he really cares at all what anyone thinks.
I agree. Jake Arrieta up to bat in the 9th with bases juiced. For some reason, the analytics told Gabe, we're not pinch hitting for this man.
Arrieta's probably going to go deep. Listen, if the analytics are lined up, Jake can swing it.
But we're down 1.
And Roman Quinn's available?
We're down 1, and this is the chance to win the game. You have Jake Arrieta up on the mound, or we have Hector Neris trying to close one out.
I'm rolling with Jake. I
agree.
Dude, I've said it before. Hector Neris could just throw his splitter knee high over and over again. No one would touch him. That guy's incapable of locating that pitch. It's so disgusting. He's a waste of talent. He needs to figure it out. I guarantee it. Put it on the books. He's going to go somewhere else and turn into an elite closer. Put it in the books.
So that is all we have today for the Dan and Brodes show. Make sure you go to my Twitter at Brodes81 to retweet my tweet for the MLB TV 1-year subscription. Thanks for hanging out. Go Birds, go Phillies, and Gabe Kapler's okay. See you guys next time.